The Weed Porn Daily Podcast is brought to you by the Weed Porn Daily Stoner Shop. Clothing for cannabis connoisseurs. We've got t-shirts, hoodies, laptop skins, iPhone cases, Galaxy S3 cases?
S4.
S4 cases.
And if you complain that we do not have an S3, you need to upgrade.
And we've got pillows. Pillows I don't think many people offer. You can literally have a pillow with nugs on it. My nigga, nugs. So it looks like you're burying your face into weed. You can sleep on Mary Jane. There's so many references I could pull here. So check it out, shop.weedporndaily.com. Clothing for cannabis connoisseurs, and we've got, accessories for cannabis connoisseurs too. And prints. Make sure to check out our prints, man. We've got a lot of dispensaries actually like to buy prints from our shop, like framed prints, and they put them up in the dispensary to create like a more artistic, more friendly environment. So yeah, or people just buy them for the room, man. What's up? Hang up some sexy weed porn nice and big on your room. Maybe put it on the your ceiling, and then cuddle with your weed pillow.
And then you just look up, and you just see beautiful weed again.
Yes.
Make it a whole experience.
That's my fantasy.
Your whole room is an experience.
Wear those Huff weed socks, and rub your feet together. Sorry, I'm taking it too far. Shop.weedporndaily.com. That's it. Advertising wise, if you want to advertise with the podcast, head over to weedporndaily.com/advertise and send us your proposal. Anything you'd like. If you want to do ads on the podcast, we could work with you. If you want to do image ads on the website, we can work with you. Text ads, of course, on the website. Twitter, Instagram, all those social networks, we can work them with you. Or even giveaways. If you have any products you want to give away to a large community of stoners to increase the awareness of your brand, or just get some reviews out there. We have a huge community just waiting, hungry for some free stuff. So get at us, weedporndaily.com/advertise. Alright, let's get this podcast started. Welcome to the Weed Porn Daily Podcast. I'm Grouch, the editor, owner, designer, the guy with too many titles at Weed Porn Daily. And I'm with the wonderful, the beautiful, my better half, Mrs. Weed Porn Daily.
Hi, good evening, or whenever this podcast gets posted. Hopefully at a reasonable hour of the day.
Hopefully not at 4:20. Maybe just in time for 4:20. That'd be perfect.
Yeah, it'd probably be supposed to say at 4 o'clock so that you can settle in, grind your weed, pack a bowl.
Oh, it's 4:20 everywhere. It's like 4:20 in every stoner's heart.
At all hours of the day?
Yes. So you can check out the website at weedporndaily.com. Follow us on Twitter, Facebook, all those social networks, Weed Porn Daily.
Except for
Instagram is Ganja Grouch. Yeah. And make sure to follow us on Vine. You have to actually get the app for that, I think. But we post the Vines on our Instagram and on our Twitter. So
and on our YouTube as well. You're doing a compilation video.
I'm gonna start compiling them. Yeah, that's another mission. But yeah, check that out. And I think that's it. You can follow Miss Weed Porn Daily
on Twitter.
Mrs. WPD on Twitter. I feel like I'm missing something. What didn't I pimp? The shop.weedporndaily.com.
Advertise.
go to db.weedporndaily.com and see the periodic table of pot, which is over 600 or 700 strains of weed, and indica, sativa, or hybrid, and THC levels and all that jazz. Yeah, I think that's it. We've got lots of news to talk about. There's been some really interesting developments in the cannabis community, and there was like some nail biting moments actually for a lot of people, which we'll talk about. So if you want to follow along, you can go to podcast.weedporndaily.com, and with every podcast we post a list of the news articles we talk about, or you can try to find them in the archive by going to the news button up top on WeedPornDaily.com, or checking the news tag. I mean, I could go on.
Or you could just type on the Google search bar, podcast, and you should be pretty okay. Right?
Yeah,
and
Google search is a good way to go.
And literally not...
I shouldn't even say that, because the Google search has been so, like, muddled with the archive. It needs, like, a month or two to, like, reorganize itself.
I guess. I mean, honestly, I use it.
Is pretty good, I think, for the basic stuff.
I'll be honest, like, if I need to look up something really quick, like, I want to use it, like, I'm talking to my friend about, like, I don't know, some pink nugs that I saw once. All I did is have to type pink nugs, and that shit shows up really quick.
Yeah.
It's so easy to just type it on the Google search at the top of the website. I don't know, my opinion.
Mm-hmm. Well, a lot of people don't share that opinion. Yeah, let's get to the news.
Yeah.
Alright. Uruguay to sell legal marijuana at a low price of $2.5 per gram to compete with black market. This comes to us from the Huffington Post. Good news, Uruguayan potheads. Your weed habit is about to get a whole lot cheaper. Uruguay's lower house passed an unprecedented bill last week that legalizes marijuana and regulates the production, distribution, and sale of weed for adult consumers. El País now reports via Univision that that the bill fixes the price of marijuana around $2.50 per gram. The bill is up for vote in the Senate, where it is expected to be passed and finally signed into law by the President Jose Mujica, a longtime supporter of drug reform. Yeah, you could keep reading the article. It's interesting stuff. But just the fact that $2.5 per gram, man, that is some incredible stuff right there. Like that I don't know. Like Colorado doesn't get that kind of price. California doesn't get that kind of price.
Wasn't that the same thing with Israel, though?
I believe that Israel gets like $2 to $3 per gram, and it's a similar situation where the government is in charge of growing the weed, so it ends up happening on a more massive scale. And they're actually allowed to grow, interestingly enough, outdoors in giant greenhouses, which allows them to utilize all the free sun and all that and make the price astronomically cheaper than
yeah, I was
growing
going to say
indoors.
take advantage of the climate and the weather, definitely.
So I don't know about Uruguay's climate, but I'm guessing tropical.
Well, it's not only that, but it's also it's near, it's like on the coastline. So I don't know if that's one of the things, and it's pretty far down south enough that it gets cold.
If they'll even be able to have sativas down there, they'll really have to rock heavy hybrids and indicas. Excuse me. Ooh, that's that Mickey D's, man. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see. Don't take my word for it. I saw somewhere that the government will be licensed to grow like 4 to 5 strain. Well, not 4 to 5, but a like limited number of strains. It won't be just this huge capitalist market. The climate of Uruguay.
Just a quick search. I mean, it's a subtropical. It is a subtropical climate. So it's very similar to Brazil and Paraguay and that. Like they will be getting high humidity and a lot of rain. A lot of rain. But there's no mountains because it's near the coast.
All I'm hearing is good stuff. I'm hearing sun. I'm hearing lots of breeze to get your trees shaking and very
high very high winds. Very high winds. Yeah.
And what'd you say, rain? So I'm hearing lots of free fucking water again. Like.
Oh yeah, definitely. They
throw
have
that
very
shit in
very
a barrel,
damp seasons.
pH balance it maybe. I don't know. I don't know about massive growing like that, but you could probably accomplish maybe some rainwater operations. At least for small time growers. But I don't know. Yeah. But it sounds like a perfect environment. It doesn't sound like Arizona, where you're struggling with incredibly dry, arid, hot climates. You're not dealing with Russian tundras, or yeah. No.
Well, that's
an option.
It's very inexpensive in comparison.
Yeah. But yeah, $2.5 per gram. I'm wondering if there'll be like a little rush of tourism to Uruguay as this news gets
for
out.
sure. And if you think about it, they're going to be directly south of Brazil, and they aren't necessarily closely related, but there's going to be a lot of tourism going to South America these next couple of years with not only the FIFA tournament, which is coming up next year, but also the Olympics. The Olympics is going to be a big thing. And everybody does say, of course, it's going to bring a lot of tourism to Brazil, but the neighboring countries will also be getting a very good amount of publicity in a way, yes.
It'll be interesting to see how big of an impact it really has on the black market, because they're saying they want to combat it, and I'm sure they will in their own country, but what kind of effect will it have on the entire chain in South America? And like you said, with the Olympics coming up, I'm guessing a lot of tourists are going to come in and want to buy bud, and most of them are probably going to be buying cartel bud. So I'll be interested to see if any of that Uruguay illegal weed gets exported, and you start seeing that on the market. Because that was the significant thing.
In southern Brazil, like they're gonna have a lot of easy capabilities of transporting it like that for sure. I think the only thing that concerns me is where are the host cities going to be for? Because majority of it is in the middle of the country, the host cities for FIFA and things like that. Like Brasilia and things like that. So I wonder.
Well, see, the thing is that in the 70s and in the 80s, and it happens all the time, there'll be like a standard of weed set. Like right now, the standard of weed, I'm sure, in South America is either cartel weed or homegrown. It's a very distinguishing thing because it's illegal in a number of areas, and there is no like medicinal shit like loosening the lockup. And what happens is you'll have a new type of weed come out, where like in the 70s you had all these, I believe the Colombians and the Thais and all these just very like shitty grown weed, brick form. It'd come in like thousands of tons, and then you would get a certain area of South America grow like a very nice, very small crop, and it would end up being more sought out weed, and
I can see that in places like Argentina, places like Chile.
In America, it ended up being a big thing where like the hippies, if you were like a hippie in the know, you got your weed from the Free Earth America Liberation or some shit like that, some fucking word combo sauce like that. But yeah, like I'm wondering if though people will be getting the Uruguayan weed because it'll be cheaper.
And how easily it will be exported from the country?
I mean, there is a 40-gram limitation per month, but 40 grams for a lot of people, I'm sure they'll just buy it and they won't even smoke any weed. It's just 40 grams for them to sell a month, and that's just like profit. So that'll be interesting. It'll be really interesting to see how they handle out-of-state traffic. Like that is always a huge concern. for any country, any government making these kind of things legal. This whole development will be a kind of quasi-experiment for America to watch and see how legalization plays out. Because we've seen how decriminalization plays out in Portugal, and we've seen how quasi-legalization plays out in Amsterdam. But we haven't seen a true government-wide legalization. Yeah.
On Israel?
And we've seen Israel's government-wide medical program. But even then, that one's horrible. I've heard a lot of accounts from people who come to the Ask Box sounding like those fucking Egyptians who are getting bombed and shit. They're like, the fucking government is horrible over here. The weed, don't let them fool you. The weed is shitty, and it's overpriced for what it is, and this and that, and the government is very restrictive on the whole regulations and the process and the patients, and just so much bad propaganda coming from the actual people on the ground.
Yeah.
But that also could be, I don't know these people. These are all anons and weird accounts. It could be, what is it, anti-weed people trying to make it seem...
anti-propaganda kind of situation.
I don't want to be a conspiracy theorist here. I'm making myself seem like one of those guys. But it could be that too.
Mm-hmm. Of course.
Let's move on. Let's move on from Uruguay. Uruguay?
Uruguay.
How are you supposed to pronounce it?
I'm sure somebody's going to say, you're not pronouncing it correct, but Uruguay? I don't know.
Uruguay. Sanjay, you want to read this one? My throat needs a little water.
Definitely. Sanjay Gupta reverses on marijuana. We have been terribly and systematically misled. This has been something that's been talked about on all networks, from all different kinds of people, because it's coming from CNN's chief medical correspondent Sanjay Gupta. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that correctly, but everybody's been talking about this. It's been nonstop. Everybody.
Basically, the Sanjay Gupta guy is CNN's chief medical correspondent.
Just repeating myself. Sorry, go on.
Did you say that?
Yeah, I just said that.
Oh, right. So this guy is the chief medical correspondent, and back in the day, he used to be anti-weed. He actually went so far as to...
He's super on the record about these kind of statements, too.
He penned an opinion editorial in a magazine or publication or whatever against medical marijuana.
Advising as a doctor. He's putting his degree in medicine kind of thing.
And his position. He's got this apparently godly position over there at CNN that he's very important.
He was up for appointment for the Surgeon General. He is a recognized person in this field and his study. Yeah.
So, he's come out now, and he's saying that he was wrong, and that he's looked at research that's over 40 years old, and come to the conclusion that we've all been lied to. And, he just happened to have produced a documentary, explaining this, I guess. Explaining his journey, it doesn't really explain his journey, it just...
Explains some of his findings and explains in a very, and not the most organized manner of which to explain a lot of these things, but it's very good for a lot of people that are very uneducated about this to catch, just to get a very brief introduction to this whole situation. He does do, I think, a good job of explaining a lot of the history.
Well, we actually watched the documentary Weed. It's called Weed. It aired on CNN. I believe
you can find mirrors of it online.
It's online. I posted it in the video section if you check the video tag, blog.weedporndaily.com/tag/video. But the documentary, I'm not going to get into it. That's a subject for a whole other podcast. But he really harps on the fact that there are people who truly need the drug for medicinal use. They really, they will die. They will suffer. They will...
it was the most depressing thing to see them posting these videos of children that have seizures.
reaction. Like, I was looking at Twitter, and you could just see all the stoners who were like, yeah, I didn't watch the documentary when it aired, so I watched it when I was eating breakfast this morning, and I cried like 4 times over my bowl of cereal. Like, it was just...
It was unexpected. It was
very powerful for parents, very powerful for just anybody with a heart, I guess.
Well,
It pulls some strings. It really highlights a subject that's been covered in a lot of documentaries, Dravet syndrome, which is a epileptic condition that children suffer from.
You get it until I think age 2, which is when it like systematically becomes horrible. Like they get 300 seizures a day. Like they're suffering.
They also have to take incredibly dangerous medications that aren't necessarily approved yet and aren't necessarily approved for children either. So these drugs destroy the children and give them more seizures and give them a worse time.
Well, it's not necessarily gives them more seizures, but things like they literally are on the brink of death.
Yeah,
that the mom has to revive them.
Yeah, they'll take a medication and it'll stop the child's heart. And then if they take a second dose, it'll like kill the child completely. It's shit like that. So they can actually take cannabis oil, specifically cannabidiol, CBD, usually in a tincture form, give it to the child, and this is you can't overdose on this. It's completely non-psychoactive and has no effects on the child other than the positive effects of reducing the seizures to, I believe, 2 to 3 times.
Like a week.
I was going to say a day, but it's literally like a week. Yeah, it stretched them out. So this is an incredible cure for this, what could only be described as a heart-wrenching experience for parents.
I mean, there are parents that they have to see their children experience things like cancer and things like that. But seizures, it's something that it happens so frequently. You know, you could be changing the kid, and the kid starts having a seizure while you're taking off their T-shirt. Like it's horrendous. You don't even know how to explain it.
The horror in the child's eyes, fear and anxiety, and just the terror that they live in, and they don't understand because they're a child, and it's terrible.
And this disease it's hurting children that are 1 to 2 years old. Like, they can't communicate properly, like, to adults how they're feeling and things like that. And when they're on these medications that heavily, heavily, heavily impact their, like, mental state and, like, their ability to communicate, it's awful. It's absolutely awful. I mean, they really did a good job with that documentary, playing the card of the experimental medication and where marijuana stands in that whole genre.
Well, it's a really interesting debate, especially to be had right now, because I just posted an article recently happening in New Jersey where Christie has to sign a bill that would allow children to use medical marijuana in New Jersey. And there's a couple parents who are like really fighting because their children are suffering and dying, and they need this, and Christie is refusing. And what was my point? I don't really...
You just posted the article about it.
I just posted the article about it. He had to sign on it, I believe, on last Friday. So he should have signed. I haven't seen the follow-up yet if he signed or not. But it's like really a really big deal. But what I find funny is that these parents, they're reaching out and trying to get this approval and trying to get a medical marijuana card for their child. And I also just reported recently how New Jersey just opened up their third medical marijuana dispensary, and the first is closed for quality fixing, like their weed isn't good enough, so they closed. The second hasn't even opened yet, and the third just got approved. So even if these people got their medical marijuana card and got their approval from Christie, they wouldn't be able to get their child jack shit. And I don't believe New Jersey allows for home grow. I don't believe it allows for anything like that, so they wouldn't be able to somehow stumble upon high CBD seeds and start have like a caretaker cultivate it.
Yeah, I was gonna say, what is their policy on caretakers?
No.
None.
Like,
yeah.
They're very strict in New Jersey. They don't want it to be loosey-goosey Colorado, where someone walks into a physician's office and then walks next door into a dispensary, quote unquote. Christy. Yeah. So let's move on. That was getting random.
Yeah. Well, that was just a really depressing topic altogether. It's something. Yeah.
To close on that, the weed documentary. Miss WeedPornDaily made an excellent summation of it. It's a really good document, and I saw like the kind of like an agreement from a lot of people and comment sections on a lot of places. The documentary is an excellent thing to show your parents, show people who are kind of conservative and are parents who have like children or like are compassionate.
Well, it's also just people that are not a part of this debate. People that things like marijuana is not their priority. There are people out there that they're completely unaware of this whole fight, this whole like crazy debacle about medical marijuana, legalization, decriminalization, and all these things.
It past a simple, can I smoke a joint, to a life or death situation for a child. And that becomes a more poignant issue for some people. And this will be an excellent video to like have screenings at like old folks' homes and like things like that, and then pass around like petitions for medical marijuana, like initiatives and stuff like that. So yeah, next topic. 5,000 pounds of marijuana seized from Topanga State Park pot farm. I'm not actually going to read this. This comes to us from the LA Times, so I bring this up because I actually had some people come in the Ask Box and raise like a small discussion about this that I thought would be interesting to touch upon on the podcast. And the discussion was, is the problem here necessarily that people are planting pot in the forest?
In government property, you mean?
Well, is the problem like the pot plant being in the forest? Like, if these rangers walking around see pot plant, will they rip it up? And is it like a kind of genocide of the ganja plant? Or is it that they're focusing on people who come into the, as you said, federal property, property that's not, the person's, and they clear it out and they start growing on it like a farm, as if it were their property.
As if it's just land that you can just set up shop and do whatever you please. Yeah.
So that was a concern. Because whenever these articles come out and they bust these huge grows inside of forests and things like that in national land, it tends to raise a discussion of environmental impact. And the person who I answered in the Ask Box, you can actually check that by going to the Ask archive, checking the Ask tag, blog.weedporndaily.com/tag/ask. I lose my train of thought doing that little like banter.
Well, you can find the question that you answered about.
Right, the dude namely brought up, I had a pothole. Thank you, you brought me out of that pothole. You filled that pothole for me. This guy namely brought up how the growers leave trash in the forest, and what they do is they set up camp, and they plant all the plants, and then they watch them. And they make sure that nobody comes and steals them, and nobody comes and, rips them up.
I mean, I've seen it in plenty of documentaries where they highlight little tents in the forest where people set up shop and they sit back and they have like a television and
if you
food
saw
and
Weed
things.
Country, if you saw Pot Cops, both of those very small TV documentaries did a decent job, I guess, of highlighting.
Well, they just show as an example
yeah.
what kind of things people tend to do when they are watching after their plants on government property, which is they stay and they eat and they leave a lot of trash and litter and things like that, which is what that other person in the Ask box was concerned about, which is a big deal.
No, littering is a concern. But I had to raise
land and stuff.
I had to raise the point of, it's not simply a matter of a little bit of litter. It's a matter of clearing land for 4,000 plants. That means 4,000 plots of land were cleared, 4,000 plots of plant life that other animals eat and other plant life is supported by. 4,000 invaders into the ecosystem, shifting the balance. And then you also have to consider the irrigation systems that these people usually install. It's not a matter of these people walking around with watering cans. They're not that fucking stupid. They're going to come in and they're going to install like PVC pipes. And they're going to lead it from the local water source to their grow. And they're also going to pump fertilizers into the water in order to feed their plants. And the fertilizers alter the chemical balance and the nutrient balance of all the plant life.
And all the soil in the area.
Yep. So all the soil gets its pH fucked up and all the nutrients imbalanced. And you also get plant life, or rather animal life, chewing on the pipes, causing leaks and just causing more havoc for the soil. And it's not a good situation.
All around.
It's not supposed to be happening. Like, people are supposed to be hiking on national land, like
enjoying what little we have left.
Yeah, not reaping it and trying to make a profit off of it. I tried to make the point that, if people are hiking and they do the traditional hippie thing of throwing out bag seeds into the forest and those grow pot plants, that is okay. If some wild weed grows and nobody's watering it and nobody's feeding it nutrients or whatever.
Like, they're not turning it into an industrial grow, essentially.
It is growing on its own. It is truly in nature. Then it wouldn't be a problem. Unless somebody, threw out, a shitload of bag seeds and tried to offset the balance. And then it's like some type of terrorist shit or... Yeah.
Well, it's an attack on the environment, in a way.
Oh, and yeah, like you said, the dwindling natural forests. Yeah. 5,000 pounds, though. They count there's no way that's like 5,000 pounds of, nugs. That's 5,000 pounds of twigs.
Well,
and
branches
and sugar leaves and dirt that they didn't clean off. Yeah. This last bit of news is a little on the lighter side of things. Seattle police officers plan to hand out Doritos at HempFest. This comes to us from Cannabis Now magazine. And basically, the Seattle Police Department tweeted that they were going to be at HempFest handing out informational packets on marijuana, as well as 1,000 packs of Doritos, which was very nice. People were like this. I posted it and it got 348 notes, which is significant for news. Even hot news gets 100 notes. So that's 3 times the popularity of popular.
Well, I wouldn't be too amazed because he posted a giant picture of Doritos on...
I feel like that wasn't the only... people just didn't reblog and, remove the text for the picture of the Doritos, it's about the subject. And it got, a lot of press on Reddit, too. It was, one of the most highly up-toke topics.
Well, people are very excited for HempFest. It's going to be a big thing this year, I believe.
Yeah, a big thing.
Even though HempFest does have a focus on using hemp as a natural resource and things like that, correct?
Yeah, not necessarily cannabis.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, good news. Good news. Police being peaceful people. It's always nice to hear. I think that's it for the news. Yeah. We've got a lot to talk about today. The last podcast we touched upon the Cannabis Kickstarter that we're going to be doing, the Cannabis Kickstarter. The Cannabis Cup travel guide Kickstarter. Let me throw out the huge keywords out there. We were really vague last time, and this time we wanted to come back and hit you guys with numbers and just make it a lot more real. And really touch upon why we're doing it, why it needs to be done, why we feel like there's a void that needs to be filled, and why we feel like it would be really cool for you guys. Like, we're gonna have some nice prizes. We thought of some cool shit. Let me pull up the list while Miss WeedPornDaily pulls out her list of Miss WeedPornDaily ran some numbers. Like, she in the future, I can easily see her being like an accountant slash
heavens no
everything, like everything statistical and serious, because she'll run some serious numbers, man.
So essentially, with the Kickstarter that we have, that's we've been working on, we have it broken down into very large categories, and then it continuously gets smaller and smaller, more precise categories. Where at the beginning, we were talking about things of, first off, this is a travel guide. We need to travel in order to have content for the guide. So, the first large category of the Kickstarter will be paying for us to go to the Cannabis Cup. We're going to cover the cost of things like the tickets, which are pretty expensive. We're going to be discussing things like the hotel room, the flight, cost of food, cost of transit. So if we're going to have to purchase taxis to get us from our hotel to the location or things like that.
And the cup is usually split up between the expo and there's usually a concert.
Yes.
And you have to travel between those.
And then
it's not simply a matter of just going from your hotel to a place and back.
Yeah. And then from doing the essential research for the book, there's a cost of the book production, meaning things such as the photography. So we'll have to, plan for all the photography, laying out the book, printing the book, and shipping the book to you guys, which is essentially the final outcome, hopefully, of the Kickstarter. And then the third thing that we have to account for when it comes to the Kickstarter is the prize packs and donation tiers, which, if some of you are unfamiliar with the Kickstarter format, it's kind of a website where people can put up proposals as to
Let's take it slow.
Okay.
You're going way too fast.
So sorry. I'm so ready for this.
Let me read the whole list at once and scare you guys.
Well, no, I told them 3 categories that were umbrella categories.
Okay. Alright.
And then I was explaining Kickstarter. I mean, there are people that are unfamiliar with it.
I was going to get to that.
Okay.
But you're like, Oscar, why are you dipping your foot in the pool? Jump in.
I mean,
Make us free.
No. Okay, no swimming anime talk here.
Alright. But seriously. Alright, what we're doing here, I want to explain the project as well. We didn't even explain what we're doing here. I said Cannabis Cup Travel Guide, and people were like, what the fuck? So, what we're setting out to do is to create a travel guide for the Cannabis Cup, as well as possibly other cannabis conventions. And in order to accomplish this, we want to actually go to the Cannabis Cup and completely research it and collect as much information as possible. The cup is a very mysterious and mysterious. That's the only word I could use. A mysterious. Like, they keep everything.
Well, it's not well covered. There's not a lot of information available about it.
You go online, and even the official website is sparse of any information. There's no information of past cups. Everything is just based off of what you can find on third-party accounts, which even then, people don't really account it very well for some reason. It's crazy.
Well, I mean, I can understand why. I mean, it's people go there to enjoy themselves. It's just shocking to see that it has such a large name, like the Cannabis Cup. Like, a lot of people know about it, and
it's been around for over 30 years now.
Yeah.
And there's still a void of information about it. And even High Times themselves have not come out with any kind of travel guide or any kind of tips. I mean, they have tips, but like...
I mean,
even those are impossible to find.
Those quote unquote tips, no offense, but it seems almost like pathetic in comparison to the guides that people create for things like going to San Diego Comic-Con or going to the like New York Comic-Con and things like that, or like Anime Tokyo and things like that. Like those guides are down to like the dollar. And there's nothing here for the Cannabis Cup. And we want to bring that too.
Yeah, we want to create a travel guide, a full comprehensive guide on the Cannabis Cup. I mean, it's a really evolving thing as well. Like it's completely changed than the past year or two because of the recreational legalization of marijuana in Washington and Colorado, and with the sweeping legalization trend with medical marijuana and recreational marijuana. Coming to more of the East Coast, coming more to other states, other countries, we're going to see more and more cups popping up as a response to this. So we really want to get in as quickly as possible and get you guys educated on the situation. So we're going to have to kickstart it because it's a lot of money. It turned out to be
if we can barely
afford
to pay the bills for the server, we can barely afford tickets to the cup.
If I have to wrangle like $100 every year out of the fans
to pay for the servers for the website,
I can't pay for it myself. Like imagine. So we're gonna have to kickstart it. And if you guys have never heard of Kickstarter, it's a website that allows you to take a kind of goal or a mission, like making a book or making a movie or things like that, and you set a budget, and it allows people to contribute to the project.
Crowdsourcing.
And crowdsourcing is the word, the fancy term. So people would contribute money. They say like, I'll give you $5, and for $5 they'll give you like a thank you letter, and you say, okay, I'll give you $20, and they'll give you like a copy of the movie or a copy of the book. And then you say $100, and they'll be like, okay, you're being really generous. We'll give you a copy of the book, we'll give you some stickers,
We'll give you a t-shirt, we'll give you all kinds of merchandise pertaining to the Kickstarter.
So it's a lot of like prize-orientated things to encourage the donation and the drive. It's only a month long, that's why we're talking about it so early, and we really have to get the hype up and really get you guys on it.
Start saving your paychecks, people.
Yeah, please. We're going to be launching this in
approximately late October, mid-November.
So keep an ear out. You're going to be seeing it on the website, hearing it on the podcast.
You will not be able to escape it.
Yeah, exactly. So basically, we're going to create a Kickstarter for us to go to the Cannabis Cup and write a book and produce the book and actually get the book out to you guys. And it actually, the price of the Kickstarter includes a lot of stuff. Excuse me, like Miss WeedPornDaily said, like the tickets, the hotel, the flight, whatever, the book production, but it also includes stuff like the actual prizes. If you give us $100 or $200, we want to be able to give you guys like a cool prize.
Your money's worth.
Yeah, so we're planning some interesting prize packs, which we'll talk about later. And can you scroll up? Yeah. So it's I guess we should just get into it. So as Miss WeedPornDaily was talking about, it's gonna be pretty expensive. We're projecting it's gonna be at least $10K.
At the max, 15.
At the max, 15. Yeah.
I mean, we're trying to keep it reasonably priced. Yeah.
So if you're hearing 10K, you're hearing 15K, you're probably like rolling back in your chair. If you had a fat dad, you're probably like laughing at us right now, like giggling, like how could they think they're gonna get 10K? But it's a similar reaction to what I had. Like Miss WeedPornDaily, ran the numbers and she added them all up and she told me 10K, and I just looked at her. And I was like, you're kidding. This isn't going to happen. Like, it just seems so unbelievable. But then I looked at the numbers, I was like, can we cut corners? What are you doing? Like, why are you making us stay at the fucking, like, Paris Hilton hotel?
And the thing is, it's not that at all.
She went with, like, the most economy setup, and still, like, it was a very expensive expenditure. So I wanted to throw some numbers out at you guys so it gives you an idea of why it's 10K. First of all, the book production. Let's drop this number because I thought it was going to cost like $500 to $1,000 to make like 200 books for you guys. I was really confident. I wanted to make like a 120 page book, full color, 8x8. Basically, like if you've ever seen the Big Book of Buds, or anything at like Urban Outfitters or those like hipster stores, those like small books.
Novelty coffee table sort of books.
Coffee table books. That's a really good way of putting it. So I thought I could get away with $500 to $1,000 to make 200 books.
500. Funny.
So apparently, a book production. What was it? It was 200 books?
For 200 books, yeah.
200 books at 120 pages comes out to...
Like, we're talking about a basic book here. We're talking about a soft cover book, so not a hardcover book, which would up the price substantially. We're talking about basic color, like glossy basic pages. Paper, like the basics.
Yeah. Basically the Big Book of Buds, like that is the quality we're aiming for. You know, something that looks professional, but isn't necessarily like a huge... doesn't have gold leaf and shit on it.
You don't have embossed lettering. You don't have registered cutting and things like that.
Nothing crazy. That came out to 8K plus. It's like 8.5.
Yeah, it's like 8.5.
Yeah. So that's 8.5 to make 200 books. That comes out to, I believe it was like $20 per book, wholesale. Like if we were to like sell you guys it at the price that we buy it at.
The cheapest we can do.
So just that, boom, 8K just in the book production. And I was looking on Kickstarter because I couldn't believe that it cost this much to make a book. I thought people were swindling us. I thought we couldn't find a good service. I thought we were going to have to go through some, get some numbers and shit.
I went through at least, 6 or 7 websites.
Well, I thought we would have to, get a private company to do it or something to get a good price. But now it's just... you go on Kickstarter and there are cookbooks up there for 8 to 10K just to make a cookbook.
I've seen 20K for a book.
And then you've got comic books up there for 3 to 5K, and it's literally what are comic books
12 pages?
12 pages
12 to 20
of
pages.
Color.
Well, think about it. Not only that, but it's ads. Comic books have ads in them.
So there you go. 8.5K in just the book production. That's crazy. And that doesn't cover the cost of actually shipping the book to you guys. Because shipping a book to you guys is going to cost a lot. And you're lucky I'm not fucking charging for the arthritis I'm going to get signing 200 fucking books. No, I'm kidding.
Oh, please.
Boo-hoo.
Cry me a river.
I'm kidding. So yeah, book production, 8.5K. Keep that in mind, guys. I know numbers are hard, especially when you're high. We'll probably do a visual. I'm probably gonna do an infographic.
Oh, most definitely. You're gonna have to break down everything for people. Well,
just to let you guys know now, 8.5K, boom, just to make a book, not even ship it to you guys, and that's not even the cost of the photography too. That I'm gonna have to possibly get a new camera, because my camera
Well, it's damaged. It doesn't take video. And one of the things that we want to do accompanying the book is things like DVD content for people who support the Kickstarter. So, when this Kickstarter does come into fruition and the book does get printed, we will have books available for purchase in our store. But, you'll be a person that contributed to the Kickstarter and you get exclusive content and things. And we want to provide the best content for you guys, and things like an adequate camera is essential.
I have a thing with shitty photography, and if a camera is holding you back, it's creating artifacts or something on the fucking camera, or it craps out, or if it's hindering you in some sort of way, you have to let it go, and you have to try your best to give the most professional product. Yeah, because what I want to do for the book is I want to have some pages where it's just literally full spreads of fucking, like, lush pictures, you know, like, give you guys a look into the cannabis cup. Because I just don't see a lot of photography of it. I don't see a lot of coverage.
I mean, we do see a lot of coverage, but it's things about, like, when people take pictures of tables, they take pictures of setups and things like that. So they're very, like, zoomed in, very, like, small frames. They're macro shots of the cannabis cup.
Or we'll see video walkthroughs that are just, like, not good quality. They're not, like, set up. I mean, you go to, like, anime conventions, video game conventions, and you'll have, like, professional photographers walking around doing, like, setups before they take a shot and really, like, striving to capture the convention. And then, you know, you walk around the cannabis cup and you just see people holding camera phones walking around. So I really want to try to bring that aspect to it. I want to try to get some really nice shots of the cup. Yeah. Let's move on. So the book production, boom, 8.5K. Plus shipping is probably going to be another, what?
2K maybe at least, minimum.
Yeah, because books are heavy, bro. And then that's also the shipping of, like, the other prizes, like t-shirts and things like that. Let me see the list. So we've got cup tickets here.
Well, what he's going to be reading to is going to be reading to specifically my list for the cost of us going to the convention. So this is the things that we have to take into account for us to do the research and get all the content for the book.
So just the fucking cup tickets?
The cost of 2 people going.
That's added up together? Like 2 people?
That's 2 people added together. That's the actual price right there.
Okay. So it's $554 for 2 people to go VIP Cannabis Cup.
For one person it's $269.
So the reason we actually went with the VIP package, it was a little bit of a deliberation. We chose to go with the VIP package because we wanted to really be able to write about the whole experience. I mean, if we just get the regular ticket and we don't go to the concert, or we don't, know, like, there's a lot of vague things on the website, where they'll say, like, the VIP package you get special prizes, TBD, to be decided. Like, what are these special prizes? What is so special about them that I have to pay 100, like 200, or like 100 extra bucks for a ticket just for the VIP status,
I mean, one way that you can look at it, I was thinking about it, where if you go and let's say you donate $5 to this book. So you donate $5 and you get like a PDF copy of the book or something like that. You get the information, this vital information that'll save you, because the cost between the basic top tier and the exclusive VIP tier is over like $150. Or something like that. It's like 100 and...
Like a one-day ticket is like, what, $70? $50 to $70?
Yeah.
And
but
then
the
nice
VIP, pass is 150, I think. 150. So if you're saving like you're saving a lot of money.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you're getting your money's worth when receiving this kind of information. Yeah.
Yeah, because we were discussing it too, like, other conventions, Comic-Con, namely, like, the biggest fucking convention in the world, basically, is less money than the Cannabis Cup, Yeah. Like, we want to, I didn't mention before, we want to distill some of the mystery behind the cup, and one of the biggest mysteries is that you get free weed when you buy a ticket, especially VIP tickets. Like, when they say stuff like, you'll get free goodies, people assume that free goodies means, like, a pipe and, like, weed and a lighter. Like, they think they're going to be set up. When in actuality, High Times can't legally ever give you weed. So it's, people end up buying VIP tickets thinking they're going to get a judge's pack or whatever, like, some access to some...
smoke lounges and things like that.
Yeah, and that doesn't happen. So we really want to distill that, make sure you guys don't spend like 100 extra bucks, think you're going to get hooked up with free weed, and you get fucked over.
Mm-hmm.
Alright, so, boom. Just the fucking tickets, like $554.
Yeah. You want to talk about this one?
Hotel.
So basically I was looking at, like, possible locations, because the Cannabis Cup, the locations were kind of iffy, and, there wasn't a lot of discussion as to where in Denver the Cannabis Cup...
another fucking mystery behind the Cannabis Cup. They don't tell you where it's going to be hosted, and the location moves often, days before the Cup.
And so, with that kind of research and that kind of poor information available, I have to come to the conclusion that it's going to be somewhere near downtown Denver. There's only so many locations in the Denver area that can host the large amount of people for the kind of facilities that they have and things like that. And the basic hotel in downtown Denver, which we want to have something that is going to be within a reasonable distance of the convention. So have something that's relatively in the middle of it all, and we'll be able to attend the whole event. And $325 a night normally. And then you have we're going to be staying for at least 3 days. And like it's close to $1,000 for us to stay the weekend.
Well, hotel gets like when I was a child, I used to have this fantasy of just going to hotels everywhere. I was just like, man, I don't understand why adults just don't like check into hotels in their own city. Like I would just be fucking just partying, and that's what people do. Like they rent hotels for parties, but I didn't understand that
it costs a lot of money.
Hotels are fucking expensive. Hotels are expensive unless you get some shoddy hotel on some edge of the city. Usually, if you're in the major metropolitan centers, you have no choice. Most of the hotels are
they're expensive.
Jacked up in price. Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah. And if we want to say like an adequate amount of time where we can attend pre-parties, maybe after parties, and things like that, where it's essential for us to be there. Mm-hmm. It's not just being like, oh, we're gonna pick the best hotel there's possibly. We're gonna go to the Ritz-Carlton kind of thing. It's no, we just want to be within a reasonable distance, because if we are, one of the things we did include on the Kickstarter was things like paying for transit and paying for transportation. So
yeah, we're too far from the fucking con, and we're paying
just a round number here, which is, I recently stayed in New York, and to just pay $50 for a 20-minute cab ride, it's ridiculous.
Murder.
No,
Sorry.
Don't do that. Don't do that.
I gotta work on my Jersey.
No, that was horrible. But yeah, that's like a balance that you have to have between distance from the convention to the hotel, and things like paying. Do we need to get a rental car? Is Denver an area that we need to have a rental car, or if we should just And all
this is going to be discussed in the book. Like she mentioned the hotel, and while we were researching the hotel, we found that most of the hotels in the Denver area were old.
There were older hotels.
Like
yes.
There were no like newer hotels. That's a huge thing for a lot of people. You're going to be staying in this. I don't want to say rinky-dinky, but older.
You're just going to be you're not going to be paying for like up-to-date amenities. You're not going to be paying for like
exactly.
new
You're paying
things.
like all that money, and you're getting like an old ass building. So that's another thing to consider.
Yeah, I was really surprised how many historic hotels there were. I
could see it though. Like people wanting to preserve them, maybe. Or...
Oh, for sure, definitely. Denver is an area that has a lot of historic, things associated with it. If you think of something like New York, where they take these very old buildings. You can't just build a building in New York anymore. It's far beyond that now. But they refurbish a lot of these buildings, and they're like brand new on the inside. But I was looking at these expensive hotels that are $300 a night, and that's like a bare basic number here, and it just did not.
Bricks falling off.
Well, no, not at all. No, you don't see those things. But I did see things like I just didn't see like a new shower, and I'm not talking about like some Four Seasons shower. I'm talking about like a basic white porcelain shower.
About some crazy situations in New York. They get away with some interesting stuff and some interesting living situations.
Yeah.
Like showers leading out to kitchens, leading out to like living rooms.
Oh, well, that's like a standard like loft apartment here.
Really?
Yeah.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
You don't get much out with real estate, do you?
I don't.
You should watch Bravo more.
How boring is it? You don't watch real estate TV? Get with the program. Hello, Honey Boo Boo.
Honey Boo Boo is not on Bravo. No.
Alright, so we've got the cup tickets, which were $5.54, and we've got the hotel running $1,500 about.
Yeah, this is with taxes and things like that. Yeah.
So that's like $2,000, boom, right there. And then we've got the flight to Colorado, non-stop, round trip, $1,224
for two people round trip. Yeah.
So that's like already $3.2K, and just travel and the cup tickets. It's intense. It's intense. $3K on top of that, 8.5K book production. Numbers start getting really fucking real. Like, she started adding these up, and I'm like, oh my god, why can't we live without food?
I mean, I'm very used to doing things like, I'm a veteran in the anime convention community, so I'm very used to planning for conventions. I'm very used to traveling. I'm a world traveler, so I'm very just normal in seeing these crazy ass numbers when it comes to flights and things like that. He wasn't ready for it.
I'm used to seeing him. It's just I'm not used to budgeting. You know, like, I was thinking about it the other day. I heard Kevin Smith talking on one of his podcasts about how he had to write up some budgets for Clerks 3 recently. And he had to do budgets for Los Angeles, he had to do budgets for another state, and I think even possibly like another area. And I was thinking about the, intricacies of that process and how, he had to go and he had to find out hotel prices in Los Angeles.
Research.
All that research, he had to and compare that to the hotel prices in another state, and things like that.
I mean, you can compare hotel prices, but you have to think about things like state taxes and lots of stuff like that.
Like, my point is,
go on.
He actually has to do the budgeting, and accounting for that. And I've never actually had to run numbers like that before. I do it separately. Like, I've had to pay for a flight, I've had to pay for a hotel, but I've never actually
planned an entire trip.
Yeah.
Which is what we want to help the people who purchase our book be able to do. Because there's a lot of people, just kind of thinking of Corey for and how she had not traveled outside of the country until, her older years. Or not, she's not old, but I mean, you're an adult basically at 20, And a lot of people are just not accustomed to travel. It was just not something in a lot of people's worlds. And so we want to be able to help people plan these trips.
And the Cannabis Cup is one of those experiences that people, they save up money for years and years and they make the trip to go. It's like a pilgrimage of sort for potheads. And we really want to just make sure that experience is exactly what you think it's going to be. We don't want you to create this golden image in your mind from what you hear from friends, and then you get out there and you're sorely disappointed. Or, yeah. So, what was it? Like 3K on top of 8K. It's like 1,000, over 10K already.
No, we're close to 11K right now.
Yeah, over 10K. Yeah. And that's not counting, we haven't talked about food, taxis, and,
I mean, we talked about, those kind of things.
We actually want to, we touched upon, and we actually want to allot a little bit of money for merchandise, because the Cannabis Cup is a kind of mecca for innovation and invention in the cannabis industry. And all these companies tend to come together and bring these cutting-edge products to the con and kind of release them, and even offer them at lower prices than they would anywhere, like retail or on their shop or anywhere. So you get these awesome deals.
Exclusive
deals.
Exclusive
products, and we want to be able to get those products and bring them back for the fans. And do giveaways and stuff. Yeah. So I thought we would allot some cash for that as well. $200 per day.
Well, we were thinking, I was being rough. This is me planning for the best case scenario in terms of us finding products to give away to our fans. So you might say to yourself, wow, $200 a day. If I give myself a budget of $200 a day per person, so it's $400 between the both of us. If we see something like, if we see nice glass, possibly, nice glass easily is $100 right there. Bam. Like, you could easily pay, like, a lot of money for very simple, small things, And so if we're going, let's say the cup's 2 days, right? So, we're going to have, like, how much money? If we're paying $400 for each of us per day, so for 2 days, $800 minimum. Like, that's like things like if we see maybe some cool pipes that we want to give away, maybe even t-shirts. If you think about the cost of a t-shirt at a music concert or anything like that, you can pay easily $50 for a t-shirt that said, I went to the Cannabis Cup. And that's all it says. I went to
we get one of those for free with the ticket.
Really? Oh,
yeah.
Okay, never
mind. But I'm sure there'll be fucking other t-shirts like,
there are going to be other cool
I
stuff.
dabbed at the Cannabis Cup, or look at me, I was at this particular booth, X, whatever,
Yeah, and if I give myself a budget of $200 a day and I want to buy some t-shirts to give away to, our super stoner followers, then, we're just going to buy 4 shirts. That's it. Like, that's not a lot to give away. So we want to have an adequate budget to give back to you guys.
Because we're going to be there. How many opportunities do you get to be in that kind of situation and have that kind of exposure, or access rather, not exposure. Yeah. So it's a lot of money. It is a lot of money. But we're going to be offering hopefully some sick ass prizes in you guys' opinion. Let's cover some of those now. We wanted to give away, offer a thank you on the website, and I'll offer a thank you letter. PDF of the book, of course. You gotta offer that. Print of the book, and I've decided that for every print of the book, I want to sign them, because this is gonna be a limited run. I won't be signing any of the ones that are in the store unless I charge extra or something. So this will be a very limited thing. Wick samples, stickers, prints of weed porn, posters of pot porn. We're maybe thinking about little notebooks with a pot design on the front. Maybe your name in the book credits. Products from our shop, like t-shirts, tote bags, pillows, iPhone cases, things like that. We were thinking about offering a special. I donated to the WeedPornDaily Cannabis Cup Kickstarter-esque shirt. So you guys have this kind of exclusive run t-shirt to show for the donations. We're still working on donation pricing schemes, but we're also working on prize packs, which are pretty cool in my opinion. I think they can get pretty interesting. So one pack we were thinking about doing was a kind of rollers pack, and we were going to offer custom printed rolling papers with the WeedPornDaily, a WeedPornDaily design on them.
Theme.
So you'll have this custom WeedPornDaily paper that you can whip out at sessions, and with that pack we'll also throw in a wick sample, and with the prize packs, they kind of work in tiers, levels. So you could get one tier where you just get a wick sample, one tier where you get the wick sample and the rolling papers, and then you pay a little more, and then you could get a wick sample, rolling papers, and a rolling tray that's custom printed with a WeedPornDaily design. So we're trying to offer some interesting packs and kind of desirable levels for you guys. I'm trying to pull together a glass pack. I really want to offer some type of something for the glass heads, because there's just so many of them, and I know there's a demand out there. But it's just so hard to offer things for the glass people, because lighters are a little harder to ship. fucking butane if I wanted to ship that, possibly.
No, that's like very expensive.
You know,
to
like
ship
forget
that.
it. You know, glass itself. A lot of states, you know, it's illegal to do that, and it's also very delicate and expensive just to get it. So it's very difficult to get the glass stuff going. The rolling one, that was like super simple. Yeah. So yeah, I think we talked a lot. So let's recap. The Kickstarter is going to be around 10 to 15K, up more than 10K, obviously, as we've outlined. The book itself is going to cost 8.5K to print, not even to ship to you guys. And the trip itself is going to be about, what was it, like 3K?
It was, with all my numbers, absolutely was 5,400.
5,400 on top of 8.5K. And then you have to also add the shipping of everything on top of that.
Shipping of books and the shipping of prize packs.
Yep. And the actual prize packs themselves, we actually have to pay for the printing. We have to pay for the stickers, possibly. We have to pay for the rolling papers, all that. Which is another chunk of cash.
Yeah.
So we'll have like complete numbers.
We'll have complete guides for you to easily digest this kind of information.
Yeah, very soon. We just wanted to throw it out on you guys and get you guys to understand why it's so fucking much. Like, just the tickets, man, 500. Boom. Flight, like, boom, another 1,000. Hotel, boom, like 1,500.
And, you know, with us doing this whole trip and, you know, us, you know, paying the extra amount to do all this kind of exclusive events and things like that, like, we're saving you guys money. So you guys don't go and spending this crazy amount on things that you might not necessarily want if you don't want that VIP ticket and things like that.
Can I tell you my dream?
Okay.
My dream was to go to the Cannabis Cup. Like, this was my, like, childhood dream.
Oh, please.
It was to go to the Cannabis Cup and buy, like, the best ticket or whatever, like, the highest, whatever. Like, I'll just throw money at them. And then I get the judges pack. I sit back in a private room that they give me. I smoke, like, 40-something strains to my face. Maybe with friends in the room, you know, like, conversing, talking about the strain.
They give you oxygen just to make sure you don't pass out.
Judging, yes, of course, you watching over me, feeding me snacks, keeping me awake. You know, rating everything and then turning it in. And I thought about touring the cup floor and how it would be this, like, almost Comic-Con like experience where there would just be booth babes everywhere. And,
all
like,
over
people
you.
handing me free joints. Like, here's a free joint, man. Here's a free joint. And, like, they don't say anything, but the AC's, like, they're pumping weed smoke in with the AC. Like, so there's, like, 10% THC in the air, you know, already. Like, that was my dream. Like, that's what I envisioned the Cannabis Cup being. And then when I actually learned all the intricacies of what the cup actually is, I wasn't that, I mean, it's not, like, disappointed. I mean, it was just more, like, reality. Like, obviously, my dream is, like, crazy. But...
A little. A little.
I'm a dreamer, okay? Maybe one day you'll see the WeedPornDaily cup, and we'll have that AC pumping. Some THC in, alright? Or maybe some CBD. Maybe it's a medical cup, alright? But just learning things like the discrepancies between the medical cannabis cup and the recreational cup and the Amsterdam cup. Like, they're all different, like, variations, are all different setups, different things you get for your tickets. Like, all this information that I learned was just so enlightening about the experience. So I want to share it. I want to share it with you guys. Yeah. So let's talk something else, because we've been talking for like 45 fucking minutes about Cannabis Cup talk. This is becoming Cannabis Cup Live news update 2013.
I mean, it's important for you guys to know what we're up to, and, you know, like, an educated consumer is, like, the best kind of consumer there is, you know? And, you know, we really want to make this happen. This is, you know, it's not only a dream of ours to just go, but it's also, you know, we are a source of information for a lot of people. A lot of people, you know, see us as, like a force that, you know, brings news and content to the community. So we want to continue bringing that kind of content, you know, that kind of education and things like that.
Yeah, one of the goals of Weed Porn Daily has always been to provide not only, you know, fun times and weed porn and whatever, but, you know, actual knowledge, actual weeducation. And, you know, along with the weed porn, you always get your serving of news. You always get your serving of information, editorials, how-to guides, things like that. So I want to, you know, make this another part of that experience, that you know, weeducation, and weeducate you guys about the fucking Cannabis Cup completely. Yeah. All right. Let's see. What do we talk about? We broke a bowl.
We broke the bowl for Beth. Yeah.
That's why, like, I've recently been editing 42 videos for the WeedPorn Daily YouTube channel, WPDTV.WeedPornDaily.com. And, yeah, I was editing some videos of Beth, and she looks so good in the videos, and it's like I never break her out, and it was nice, like, smoking from her. And then just the other day, while I was passing by, my arm brushed it, and knocked the bowl onto the floor, shattering it into an unusable state.
It was very sad, because, actually, the original, Beth is our black leaf, and she had a bowl that you had broken.
It's a black leaf beaker tree percolator bong, china glass, and I broke the original bowl. And Miss WeedPorn Daily was kind enough to get me a replacement bowl, and they gave her a free down stem. And
free.
Well, they hooked her. Well, not free, but they hooked her up with like a cheaper down stem.
Yeah.
And I broke the down stem. It while cleaning it, like the diffuser elements, like the glass on the bottom, they do slots to diffuse the water, like when you suck. It just snapped right off at that point. So I still have it. It's usable. It's like I could do it in like fruit or something, or just fill the water level up and not have diffusion. But you know, it's not like safe and all that. So I switched back to the original black leaf down stem using the new bowl, and I just broke the new bowl. So we're back to OG black leaf with OG down stem.
Sans bowl.
No bowl.
No bowl.
Yeah. I was looking at some bowls, high priority glass that 18 millimeter for only $20. They weren't bad from like nice artists, but I just don't have any money.
We just don't have the money for that right now.
We're talking about like a 10K Kickstarter, and I'm like struggling with food here, so I can't really buy like a frivolous bowl right now. I'm really lucky. Like, I pray every day that the Philadelphia never breaks, because without it, I would just not have a convenient way to consume cannabis on a regular basis.
Yeah, we needed to medicate.
So yeah, I mean, Miss WeedPorn Daily was shocked by how nonchalant I was about it. I just broke it, and I was like, oh.
He just continued what he was doing.
Yeah, went to the kitchen, brought a broom back, swept it up, called it a day.
And we didn't even discuss it for like a whole day.
Yeah, it was very clinical. I was like, time of death, 12:13. But really, it was just because it's like a fear of mine of breaking glass. Like, people ask me like how I keep glass like from breaking or clean or perfect, and it's like a constant paranoia of me fucking up and breaking it. And one of the images I've had in my mind for like months now is because I keep my bong on a shelf near the door. So it's in a place of high traffic. I'm constantly passing by it, constantly placing things on the shelf and moving things. So I just envisioned myself passing by one day, casually opening the door, and my hand just like grazing it and knocking it onto the floor, which is exactly what happened. So I had already seen it like millions of times happen in my mind. So when it happened, I was just so desensitized by it. I was just like, oh, it happened. I mean, every time I look over and I see Beth without a bowl, it is a little depressing. Because every now and then I'm like, hey, let me mix it up a little bit. Oh.
Yeah. I know, because people are always talking about...
People love to talk shit. Why are you using that bong all the time? Why don't you ever smoke out of other bongs, bro?
I don't know, maybe because we're poor.
Yeah, why don't you send me a bong, bro, if you're so obsessed. Yeah.
They act like bongs are, like, disposable.
Yeah, I'm gonna go down to the bong shop and get my $1 bong. It's like, what? Yeah. As if weed is as expensive as it is. It's hard enough, like, getting weed on a consistent basis. Before, there was a period of time where I wasn't smoking, or I couldn't smoke enough, where I would feel, like, good, like, medically. And now, like,
not good, decent. Decent enough to get out of bed.
Yeah. And now I've reached that point where I can. So I'm happy. I don't need fancy glass. I just need enough weed. Yeah. So we talked about the broken bowl. What else?
I mean, the podcast is getting kind of long.
It can go on as long as we want. This isn't Ustream. We're not constrained by an hour and 30.
We're not the Joe Rogan experience.
Yeah.
3 fucking hours.
Let's see here. Let's talk about yoga. We can finish with like yoga talk, because you know how I love getting spacey at the end. Excuse me. So I've been practicing yoga for a year now, a little over a year, and I've really been getting serious. Probably the last like 6 months, doing it every single day, really getting on that yoga scene, and it's really just been a great experience. Like, I have to highly recommend it to everybody. I've been posting it more on the Instagram and Vine, pictures of me just doing poses and stuff. It's not just about exercise. It's not just about like some spiritual shit. A huge part of yoga for me keeps me alive. Like, yoga for me is an invigoration of life. Yoga for me is keeping me in motion, keeping my body invigorated, keeping the water running instead of staying still. If I could harken back to Bruce Lee, my mentor. But like the reason I post yoga so consistently is because I found it so inspirational to see people post yoga every single day. I follow a lot of blogs on Tumblr, and I know a lot of Instagrams where it's just yogis who will every single day get on the mat and do some poses and get some pictures out. And I mean, it probably seems cheesy to a lot of people, where they'll see like someone doing a downward dog and it'll have like a yoga quote like never stay still, always bend over, or something like that.
That was a horrible one.
That was a really crude one. That one's literally one of them though. It's like never stand straight, always bend, or some shit. So you see those, like, I'm sure, and it might seem a little cheesy, but I see those and I see people who are invigorated with life and who wake up every day and will hit that mat and will, find the energy within themselves and center themselves even on days where, you'll see them post like, damn, today, I tore this particular muscle, so I'm taking it easy, but they're still on the fucking mat. And I used to be that guy where I tear a muscle and I'm like, well, that's an excuse to have a fucking 2-month vacation. And I'll just sit in bed and play video games all day and let my body rot, while they actually strive and keep their body alive. So I want to, join that community. I want to be a part of that movement, that invigoration of life, that promotion of life, and promotion of balance and exercise and good living. And yeah. But namely, I've been practicing, or I haven't really been practicing, something that I should be practicing. And I thought about it a while ago. And it was just it's like one of those memories, like you think back to a trip, and it just hits you. I mean, it wasn't as clear as a trip, because trips, the imagery tends to be very vivid because of how impactful it was, and because of the psychedelic. But it was like one of those memories where you look back and you're like, damn. And it was when I used to smoke blunts. Like, I used to smoke like a blunt to the face and just sit down in like a corner of my room and meditate. And it was such an enlightening experience. Like, before that, I'd done a little research about cannabis and meditation, and I basically learned that there's like a 50-50 divide. There's like the people that say that cannabis distracts you, and that it's not a useful tool in meditation, and that it's only gonna hold you back. And then there's people that say that it's the only thing that allows them to break through and really achieve new heights in meditation. So I wanted to do a little experiment of my own, and I would smoke like a fat blunt, like 0.7 to a gram to the face, so a very like psychedelic dose, and sit down and just close my eyes, cross-legged, and just practice breathing exercises. And I quickly found that with marijuana and meditation, you really can't control the experience. With normal meditation, it's like a focus to try to reach your center. And you hear a lot of people with the guided meditations, they'll tell you like, slow down, and, if you have a thought, just accept it and push it away. Just let it go, bro. And with weed, it becomes a lot more difficult because it's a stimulant. So you're sitting there and you're like, look at this fucking crazy visual. Oh my god, I just thought of this crazy shit. Oh, this is like, you're just being bombarded with your senses and with your imagination being kind of opened up a little bit in some ways. So with the cannabis and meditation experience, you really have to just kind of sit back and accept that you will be introduced to new ideas, and that is part of the experience. And you'll quickly find that kind of thought pattern, rather than the pushing away, helps you reach a more centered place, and you achieve less of those bombarding thoughts, and more of just a crazy focus, just like a heightened focus. So I would close my eyes, super fucking blazed, and I would start experiencing CEVs, closed eye visuals. And I'm sure people have done them, like seen them sober, where you'll see like red like veins in your eyes when you close them, or pentagonal patterns of like light speckles, or fractals, or worms and things like that. But the visuals on cannabis and like the breathing exercises were just so, I never experienced it on a psychedelic, and I've never experienced it sober. It was just kind of like a geometric, colorful journey. It was kind of like a fucking Beatles movie. Like if I had like put in like an old 8-track of like Yellow Submarine into my head and just like gone off on a tab or something. Like not as significant as like an actual trip, but the colors were just so saturated, vivid, and different that I usually get. Yeah, it was very nice. Very nice. So I was thinking back to that experience, and I was like, man, I haven't sat down, gotten high, and meditated in a while. Cannabis for me really has just become this like medication. Like, I really don't get high for recreation anymore. I used to get high and smoke with friends and just play video games and use it like that. And now it's like every time I have a stomach cramp attack, or my bowels are releasing, or I have painful burning diarrhea, or incredible back pain from my bowels, like just any list of like my ailments, I turn to cannabis and it completely relieves them. And because my supply is so low and my ailments are so high, I don't necessarily get that much to smoke. So I haven't been able to really have that kind of breakthrough experience with bud yet. Really tango with the spirit of Mary Jane. Yeah. Been thinking about a mushroom trip though. Really been thinking about a mushroom trip. Like I haven't tripped in over a year now. More. And I've been putting off the experience. Like they say that you should do it every 3 to 6 months as a kind of cleanse. And, I told myself after my last trip, which was I think 6 to 7 grams, and it was like my most intense trip ever, I told myself that I wouldn't need to do it for the rest of my life. Like it was just that potent of an experience. But it's been so long now and I've changed so much that I feel like I have some new lessons to learn. Yeah. So maybe a trip report soon. I encourage you guys to meditate while high, meditate while sober, or just practice some yoga, man. Like when I say I do yoga every day, it seems a little crazy. You're probably thinking like, what the fuck? This nigga's doing like handstands every day? That's crazy. But nah, I don't. Like, every day I try to at least do 10 to 20 minutes of minor stretches. Of just like those touch your toes, bend over, like little minor stuff, no crazy poses. Just to get my whole body warmed up and stretched out. And then every other day is when I actually do like serious practice and do resistance training and things like that. So you could do it, man. Do it every day. I know a lot of people that make excuses. Like, oh, my wrist hurts, or, I broke this bone. I don't know if I should be doing it, or putting weight, or this and that, or it's just them avoiding the mat. Them avoiding, themselves. Yeah. Yoga's been an excellent source of just venting life and anxiety and just everything. Yeah. I know a lot of people turn to cannabis as a source of relief from anxiety and the tensions of life and how everything builds up. But exercise, man, like people tell you, just go out for a walk. Like,
it's the best thing.
It makes a huge difference. Like I started doing biking, and that is like fucking intense.
I love biking though. Biking's one of my favorite things.
Yeah. It's really good. Really good. Cardio's really good. Or just getting, like, I love yoga because, like, cardio, maybe you don't want to run at night because it's not safe, or you don't have access to an expensive treadmill or gym membership. You just buy, like, a $10 mat at your Target, and you can do yoga in, like, the tightest spaces in your room. Like, I post my Instagrams and Vines of me doing my yoga, and it's literally crammed between my bed and my desk. Like, I just have enough space for the yoga mat.
So it's essentially the same width of the yoga mat.
Yeah. So don't think that space is a hindrance, It's just your own self holding you back. Yeah. So be an inspiration, man, to yourself and others. Be that positive push, because I see a lot of depressed people out there, man. And it's all of our jobs to help pull those people up and help them out and really enlighten them and help enlighten ourselves. Yeah. Namaste, guys. Stay regular, super stoners.
See you soon.
There you go. 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 There you go.